What is going on, guys? My name is AK, back again with another YouTube video. Now, it's been just over 24 hours since this Season 2 Reloaded update dropped with all the new weapon changes, and so me and the rest of the competitive community have been grinding really hard to find out what the new weapon meta is going to look like, so I'll be breaking that down with you in today's video. So first, I just want to quickly break down the gameplay that you're seeing in the background. So I was just playing Miami Strike, you know, the new map, and then some people on my team, or maybe the other team, I'm not too sure, they hit me up. They go, "Yo, are you AK from YouTube?" And it feels kind of weird to be recognised. It's only happened like once or twice before. So I was like, yeah, that's me. So we hopped into some league play, started playing some league play together, and yeah, using the Krig, absolutely nasty. And so that's the gameplay you see in the background. I think in the end we ended up dropping 66 kills or something. One of them lagged out and it went down to a 3v4. So good gameplay. I was going to upload that actually as a separate gameplay, but the audio was a bit messed up for it and all that, so I thought I'd just have it as the background gameplay for today's video. But to those guys, thank you, I appreciate it, and if any of you want to play League Play, just hit me up. So we're starting with the ARs now. Number one, first point is the Krig is still nasty. Now, the Krig had some weapon tuning, and at first people were a bit concerned about whether maybe the Krig wasn't as good as it used to be, maybe a bit more recoil, but after having used it for the whole of yesterday, and that's probably a good maybe 6 or 7 hours of game time, I can say that I have no I don't think the Krig's got any worse. In fact, potentially maybe even got better, but certainly at least as good as it was before. Still a completely solid gun and the weapon of choice for a main AR. Now, the next big thing is that the North American amateurs have decided to GA the QBZ. So, if you don't know, the QBZ was already GA'd in Europe and the APAC region. As of when the XM4 was GA'd, it was GA'd pretty much a day after that happened, and so we've been sticking to AK74u and Krig meta since that happened, but the North American amateur scene and the pro scene has still been using the QBZ, but now the North American amateur scene have GA'd it, and so they're not using it anymore, so potentially we could see that followed through in the pro scene as well. My guess is that they probably will, being that if they want to keep bringing up the Challengers talent, which they have, and I mean the Challengers talent have been outperforming sort of their worth on a lot of these matches, so they're probably still going to want to be bringing this talent up, so in order to have that most effective transition, they'll probably end up following the same set of GAs that the amateur scene does. Now, I do just want to briefly talk about the FFAR. So this is a gun that I used a little bit, maybe for half an hour or so, and I'm not too much of a fan. I think the changes that got made to it in the most recent weapon patch don't really address the gun's main issues, which is just its horrible recoil. So essentially, from the way that I felt playing with it, it was a gun that couldn't kill at range and would always get killed by a sub up close. So I feel it doesn't really have any place in the meta right now. Now, this all might change. Maybe as if I play with it a bit more, get used to the gun, get used to the recoil, maybe it'll become a little bit more playable. But certainly, I think at the moment that the FFAR isn't the most viable gun in the current meta. This pretty much leaves the Krig as the only viable AR still, so really, when you look at it after all of the patches that have been made to all the ARs, apart from in the North American scene where they've GA'd the QBZ, the meta hasn't really changed. Now, a quick little point I want to make, if you saw my last video where I was sort of breaking it down, there was one thing under movement that talked about sort of changing between going prone, standing and crouching, and people potentially thought that was a snaking fix, and indeed it is, so snaking is now fixed. I'm sure Celium is very unhappy about that. But anyway, next we're moving on to the SMGs. Now, well, there's quite a bit more variation, quite a little bit more to talk about here, so let's get straight to it. First of all, the AK74u is still a very viable option. Now, it did have some negative sort of patches and some nerfs made to it, but from what I've seen and from what I've sort of played against, the AK74u is still a viable gun. Now, the muzzles were GA'd, you know, the infantry compensator and the muzzle brake, they were GA'd, and people are potentially considering un-GAing them just to sort of make up for this change in recoil, but I'm still not too sure whether that's going to happen or not. But certainly a gun that can still compete, so if you love your AK74u, don't worry, it hasn't gone anywhere. When it comes to looking at other subs that have been buffed and are ready to step potentially up into that pro level of play, the number one we need to look at is the Milano. So if you did see my gameplay yesterday, we were using the Milano and I said, yeah, I like this gun, it feels good, and a lot of people agree. In fact, I've seen a few polls up on Twitter of people saying, what submachine gun are people going to be using, and it does seem very 50-50 between Milano and AK74u. So it's definitely one that people are going to be using, so yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll try and bring out some sort of class setups and things like that. At the moment, sort of the ideal class is set up, so I'll keep you posted on that, but definitely keep an eye out for the Milano, and if you're a sub, give it a try, level it up if you haven't used it before, you know, get sort of a good feel for the gun, because from what I've played against and played with, it is a very solid choice. Last but not least, with the small sort of nerf that has been made to the AK74u, this kind of brings up the question of maybe the MP5 is viable as well. Now, it's always one that had been before this patch. It'd be something that, yeah, it's good. In fact, it's better up close than the 74u, but it just didn't have that range and didn't have that ability to kill people where the AK74u could. But now with this recoil change, only a small one, but potentially I've seen a few people using the MP5 and actually performing quite well with it. So maybe this is one that we could see moved into the sub meta as well, which would really sort of diversify diversify the sub meta, potentially having a 74u, a Milano, and an MP5. Obviously, teams would have to pick and choose which ones they want to use, but definitely this is something that I like to see. In fact, it annoys me that the ARs are restricted to only one weapon and the subs actually get some choice, because really having a choice in weapons that you can use allows for sort of more innovation, more new ideas, and things like that. So certainly there's a lot of interesting things to watch in the submachine gun side of things. But that's about it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to drop a like, and in the comment section below, tell me what metas you want to see. Do you want to see a Krig and MP5? I know that's quite a popular one at the moment, or whether you're happy with the Krig 74u. Really, tell me whatever you want to use, and also throw me your class setups. I want to see what you guys are rocking with your Milanos and things like that. So yeah, I'm interested in that. But thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.